give the dashboard reports or something.
Combine. When you say combine, what do you mean?
Uh, Combine from one tool to another tools, from one file to another file,
Got it.
which
These files can be in which format?
Excel or
Oh, got it. So some word text, right? Excel, CSV, blah blah.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's fine. We have another person here. Wait, Harpreet. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, please, can you give me a quick intro? What do you do? What are your expectations from this course?
Mm, I am then MC in
Okay.
India.
Hmm.
Um, okay, I सर मैं हिंदी में बहुत बोल सकती हूँ.
कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
ओके सर मैंने अभी एमसीए डन किया है.
हम्म.
इंडिया से मैं अभी आई हूँ यूएसए.
ठीक है.
तो मैंने जॉब के लिए अप्लाई करना था तो सर ने रेकमेंड किया था कि आप थोड़े टाइम के लिए ऑनलाइन ऑनलाइन क्लासेस लगा लें तो आपके लिए इजी होगा.
आपने
इसलिए सर
एमसीए
मैंने
किया है तो
पाइथन को
आपने
काफ़ी भी.
ओके.
ओके.
तो आपने एमसीए किया, आपने कोई लैंग्वेज पहले कभी ट्राई करी होगी right? थोड़ा बहुत सी सी प्लस
हाँ
प्लस.
सर पाइथन थी. थोड़ी बहुत की थी
अच्छा,
मैंने.
पाइथन था. दैट्स ग्रेट, दैट्स ग्रेट.
पाइथन सी प्रोग्रामिंग थी.
ठीक है. परफेक्ट, ग्रेट,
ओके.
साउंड्स गुड, साउंड्स गुड. ओके गाइस, मैं स्क्रीन शेयर करता हूँ. Hey, by the way, are all of you comfortable with me teaching in Hindi then, or there's any issue? Please confirm.
Uh, it's
Uh,
okay. It's okay.
It's
Hindi
okay.
is fine. No issues.
but I do not know Hindi, so it would be great if you
Okay.
We'll manage.
stick to English.
Don't worry.
Understand.
Sure, that's fine. Um,
And are you going to record the session?
yeah, definitely. So, see, guys, आप सभी, all of you come from sort of different backgrounds. So, although I'll be considering you as a complete beginner, and don't worry about the recording part, all the sessions will get recorded. Also, if I note down something in the session, I'll send the files to you as well. Okay. Now, like I said, I'll be considering you as a total beginner, so I don't expect you to know anything beforehand. If you can just Google something else, that's good enough for me. Okay. Another important part. If you are someone who is just joining the course because you have heard that, Python is a great language to learn, there are great jobs in AI, ML, there's a huge market out there. Sorry to disappoint you, just this course won't be enough to help. Okay. Actually, as a complete Python beginner, let's say none of the courses can help you. Okay. Of course, not these 20 sessions. So, what should you actually expect? And who is this course for anyway? Hmm, let's say, especially for people who haven't coded before, or maybe you, like most of you, have done VBA or some sort of a coding work somewhere. So, this is how it goes. First of all, if you want to work in tech, you can choose a domain. For Python, you can go ahead with three domains mainly. You can go ahead with web, automation, or any data related domain. It includes everything, your data analysis, machine learning, analytics, all the hyped terms as well. Now, these are the specializations. To reach here, you need to learn a programming language. In our case, great choice. We are going to start with Python. Now, because all of you have somewhat different, let's say, end goals, what we are going to learn is the Python part. I can't cover any of these specializations as of yet in this course. Okay. So what are we going to learn in Python? We are just going to get comfortable with the Python syntax, and I can show you some of the things that Python can do. Let's say how to automate our files, folders, anything related to operating system. By anything, I just mean creation of files. And like one of you mentioned, let's say combining files together or fetching data out of one file and putting it into another file, those sort of things. Automatically generating the folders. What else can we do? Another thing I can show you how to create some graphical user interface that would run on the web. I'm not calling it a web application because to create web application, there are better ways out there, but we can create something good looking using just Python as well. So I can show you that. What else? Maybe we can build things where we fetch data from some existing website. Maybe some website that shows us current stocks data, or maybe I want to fetch, let's say, live cryptocurrency data out of somewhere, or maybe I want to use some third-party tool, or let's say bunch of tools, combine them all together and make my own software out of it. Okay, so just giving you taste of, let's say, most of the things that can be done with Python and where the market is present. So mainly some of web, some of automation, some of data. Okay, this is not a specialization course. Let's just consider it as, how should I frame it? Bachelor's in coding. Now, I expect you all to spend at least 30 minutes other than this session on the assignments that I will give you and just for your own research. Okay, I'll cover most of the important part, but I'll skip very basic things. I'll give you some resources that you can look into. Why that? So that I can focus on these things that tutorials won't cover. Now, another thing, I won't be spoon feeding you. So if I ask you to solve some problem, just try to figure it out on your own. Of course, you can ask me the question. I'll point you to some other resources. I won't directly be giving you the answers. Otherwise, again, it's no better than any other internet tutorial. Okay. And trust me, that's a great way to learn how to code. If I tell you everything, that won't take you anywhere. But everything that is required for you as a beginner, don't worry about it. We'll cover all of that. If there's any doubt for now, do ask me. And please feel free to turn on your mics whenever you want. If you don't understand something, what I've explained after some of the examples, please free to ask me within the session. Okay. So yeah, please, anything you want to ask? Anyone? Nothing? Should we go ahead? Please give a yes.
Yes, yes,
All right. And just one more confirmation, is my screen and voice clear at least?
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
All right, guys. So see, uh, you already know the computers are used to solve some problems, right? But mostly they are just here to solve the problems that we as humans can solve as well in real life. The only difference being that they are more efficient, they are fast, and they are more consistent. Okay. They can deal with, let's say, huge amounts of data. So, what do we need to do is, first of all, if we have a problem, we need to understand how to solve it in our real lives, write down steps for solving those problems. And once we have tested out our steps with, let's say, some of the examples, then we can translate this solution into code that a program would understand, that a computer would understand. Now, for us, this code would be written in Python. Once we do it, that's it. That's what we have to learn. Now, the coding procedure, if you have a look at it, is basically three steps. The first one being you need to understand how inputs work, you need to understand what an algorithm is, and then how should you output the result. Now, input can be just where does the values come from. So let's say you want to create an application that calculates BMI. Okay, so do we know how to calculate BMI in real life? If you don't, that's all right. Okay, let's take a simple example. Suppose I just want to create a program that calculates area of a rectangle. Now, all of us understand how to do so. First of all, we need to know about the inputs, which would be our length and width. So we need to know I need to get length and width somehow, then write an algorithm for it. What could be an algorithm? Just a step-by-step procedure to break down our problem and get to the solution. So once I have the values, our algorithm to calculate area of a rectangle would be area equals to length into width. That's it. And once I have the solution, I need to decide how should I send it as an output. Now the basic thing could be to show it onto the screen. This would be our procedure throughout the coding. Now your inputs can differ. Sometimes a user can input the values manually. Values can come from a file, maybe a text file, can come from a CSV file, can come from a database, can come from if you have heard of a term like API, we can fetch data out of an API, maybe scrape some data out of a website, and a lot more possible inputs. Now, these are just the ones that we'll be covering in our session. Once we have the data, somehow we are going to solve some problem onto it or figure out what to do with this data. And once we have the solution, then we are going to show it as an output. An output can again depend. Maybe we just want to show it on my screen. Maybe I want to run it on my web. Maybe I want to save it in a file, a text file, a CSV, or maybe send it back to some database. Okay, that's what all we need to learn. Now, to do all of this, we are going it with the language Python. But then why Python? What makes Python so special? So, first of all, this is something that most of you would have heard. It's a simple language. Now, this can be pretty confusing. It is simpler compared to other programming languages. Okay. So if you're just a beginner in coding, this can get intimidated at some point in time. But don't worry, it's still way more easier than any other programming language out there. Another thing, why should you go ahead with Python? Because it's a community rich language, it's an open source language. How does that help us? So it just means that if you want to build something, you won't have to write code from scratch. Okay. There are tools available on the internet, or let's say some tools that other tech giants or some individual communities or people have built. You can fetch their code and write your own solutions upon those existing code. We can see some of the examples even in today's session. Don't worry about it. So that's the good part about Python. Because it's an old language, so there are tools available. Tool is just a generic term. The actual term is something else, which I don't want to burden you all with tech jargons right now, just trying to keep it easy. And because it's an old language, so if you ever even encounter some of the issues, you can just Google it up. You will definitely find some solution that will help you resolve your query. Okay. Uh, till now, I haven't encountered any problem which I couldn't get the result for. So trust me, anything that you fall trap into, you can look onto the Google and you will get your solution. What else? Why even choose Python? Uh, so there are some technical reasons why you should go ahead with the Python, but I think these were the easier ones. It is a simple language. Another one being that you can build something depending upon others' code as well. Now, that's just the good part. There, of course, are cons within the language as well. The major con of Python is it is a slow language. When I say slow, it doesn't really mean that you will see slow output in your code. It just means that when you compare some of the solutions with other faster languages available to us, um, with large amounts of data, you will see Python running slow. Now, that doesn't mean Python is a bad language, but then why would you use Python for, let's say, machine learning applications or some real-time applications if in case it is slow? That's because actually behind the scenes, the code that is running some faster processes, maybe the ML task, maybe the AI task, or any other hype term, behind the scenes, all of that was built in faster languages like C and C++. But because if you are someone who comes from a non-tech background, it can be really difficult for you to understand C, C++'s syntax. So that's why here we give you an easier syntax, which is Python. But behind the scenes, this is the code that's running. Now, if uh, any one of you have heard of terms like pandas or any other ML or data analysis library in Python, of course, you run these things in Python, but behind the scenes, they were actually built on top of C. Why? Because these are way more faster languages than your Python. Now, what else? What else about Python? So if I give you a simple Google search, Here's the official definition. Python programming language. This is what it says. It's a high-level general purpose programming language. Now, high level just means that it is a human understandable language. What do I mean by human understandable language? Now, we all understand that computers would actually understand binary, but then us human beings don't understand this language. We can understand a humanly language. So let's say English, Hindi, or maybe Python. It looks like English, but then how would this translation work? How does our hardware understand our Python code, and how do we understand this binary code? So we need to use some sort of a translator in here, which will pick my Python's code, translate it into binary, do some processes, and then give me back the result in English sort of a language. Now, in Python's case, this translator is known as interpreter. So Python is a high-level interpreted language. And when I say it's a general purpose language, it basically means that it can be used just anywhere in general programming. Uh, what all domains can you use Python in? So it can be web, it can be automation, or let's say ML, anything related to data, or even mobile application, desktop application, etc., etc. A lot of other things. Now, don't worry, all the things that I'm telling you right now, no one's going to ask you these things. Just giving you a brief intro to Python. The coding part will get into depth. So that was just the basic intro to Python. Now, coming to the actual part, how do we actually code? So first of all, any doubt in this till now? Anyone?
Good to go from my side.
All right, guys. Okay, so how do we code? See, first of all, to code in Python, we would need two things. The first one being the Python itself. Where can I get Python from? A simple Google search. Let's say Python. Now, this is the official website, python.org. If any one of you has ever seen a tutorial where you would download Python using a software named Anaconda, don't worry about it. I'll tell you what that is. But this is the official website. So you'll go here, irrespective to whichever operating system you are using. If you go to downloads button, you will see a download option for your particular system. So don't worry about the version. If it's somewhat different in your system, just tap on it. It'll download the software and we are good to go. It's a pretty normal installation. I can just showcase, maybe go to downloads, just click on it. Okay, just remember one thing. When you double click on this Python installation setup, one thing that you would need to take care of is to check on this part, add python ext to path. Maybe somewhere down the line I'll tell you why this and what exactly do we mean by path. Once you are done with this, just click on install now, next, and it's a normal piece of software then. What would it do? It will install Python and some bunch of other tools, which we'll talk about later. Another thing that you need is a platform where you'll write the code. So you have the Python now, and now you need somewhere to write the code. So an editor. In a programming language's case, this would be a coding editor. Coding editors are different from your normal text editor. Text editor could be your, let's say, MS Word or Google Docs. Coding editors provide you different features, a lot less features than your text editors, but if you ever want to code something, you will have to go ahead with coding editors. The default coding editor that you get in your system is Notepad. Of course, you can write Python in Notepad as well, but try not to do it. It gets really difficult at some point. So try using something better, like the one that I am typing in right now. So the piece of software I'm using is known as your Sublime or Sublime Text. There is something else as well, Atom. But don't worry, if you have ever tried coding in Python in your system and you already have something installed and you are comfortable with it, please feel free to use the same software. Code doesn't differ depending upon the platforms. Okay, it's just the same. Coding editor is just one kind of a platform. So if you just want to write maybe a simple automation script, or let's say a code that can extend up to 3, 4 pages, that should be it. So all of that can be handled by a coding editor. We are good to go. But then there could be situations where Python is not enough. So maybe you want to build a web application wherein you will have to use Python along with some other languages as well. Or maybe you would want to include databases as well and bunch of other things. In that case, it really gets difficult to install different softwares and sort of combine them. So that's why we have another category of a platform. It is known as IDE. Again, don't have to remember the definition, sorry, full form, but it stands for Integrated Development Environment. Nothing fancy, just a platform that has a coding editor but has capability of allowing you to do a lot more other things. Uh, and also has a lot more functions. Like the one I'm using right now is a basic coding editor. It looks very simple. It is lightweight. It has less tools. If I open an ID, don't worry what you see on the screen, but there's a lot to see, right? There are a lot of other languages, lot of graphics, lots of colors, and lot of other functions available. Okay, tools. So whenever you want to do a lot more, basically if you want to get into web, that's where we deal in IDEs. What else? Another major platform that in case you have ever thought of dealing with data using Python, this is what you would have encountered, notebooks. In particular, it is Jupyter notebooks. Why Jupyter? Because it's not just for Python. It can also run for your Julia, another programming language, and R, another programming language. If you haven't heard, totally fine. Why this platform? Because in here, you can combine your code, you can write some text, maybe even bold, italic, or increase the size of that text. You can include images, you can include audio files, you can include video files, and most importantly, you can include your graphs in here. You can include, let's say, maps in here. And not just that, you can convert all of that back to PPTs. So these are just different platforms where you can write Python. Depending on which domain you will work on later in your life, you get to choose. Like if you want to work with web, you might want to install an IDE, would be comfortable for you. If you want to deal with data sets, you can go ahead with notebooks because of course, along with these things, you also get to see data in tabular format. Tabular format as in whatever you see in, let's say, Excel or databases, similar form. But if you just want to write day-to-day scripts, some automation part, small stuff, let's call it, coding editors are way to go. Pretty simple. So install your Python, install a coding editor, and we should be able to go ahead. My bad. Excuse me. Any doubts till now in this?
Uh,
Uh,
do we have any free license version for Sublime or Auto or IDE?
uh, it is free, although they will ask for your subscription. We don't have to purchase it.
Okay.
Yes. Um, in fact, we don't have to purchase any of these. Like if you want to go ahead with this one, Visual Studio Code, it is free. If you want to use the notebooks platform, totally free. If you want to go ahead with Sublime, free as well. Now, let's actually see how would we even code. So there are many ways to code. There are easier ways to code, and then there's the one that I'll be teaching you right now. It can look intimidating if you haven't ever used this before, but trust me, if you are going to work in tech, you will have to come across this procedure of writing code. Okay, this is a difficult one, but that's how we are going to go. So this is how it goes. You will open your coding editor. In my case, it's Sublime. Just open a new file, just like any other platform. File, new file, or Control N, or Command N if you are on Mac. Remember one thing, just save it as, give it any name for now, although there are rules to it as well, but don't worry. Let's say I will be saving them in downloads for now, okay? So in here, just call it whatever. So I can call it first, Remember one thing, use the extension. Always mention the extension. In our case, that would be .py. Why the extension? So that behind the scenes, my computer would know that this is going to be a Python file. So if there's some metadata related to Python, it will get, let's say, preloaded to this website, this file. If you haven't heard of metadata, totally fine. Let's just say more information as to what should be color of my text, or where should it leave some space within the code. Okay, we'll see what the difference is between a .py file and a normal txt file. You will come across those situations as well. So this is where you write your code. What can the code look like? The most basic thing that you can do in your code is um, print something onto a screen. Now to print something, you can use a function. Now there are bunch of functions available in just any language. Don't worry, you don't have to learn them all. No one does. Uh, Within our sessions, we'll use bunch of functions, and with practice, you will just remember them. Okay. Now, if you want to print something onto a screen, just write something within quotes. Let's say hello world. Of course, I am enclosing my text within quotes. Don't worry about why. Just know that if you ever want to deal with text, we gonna enclose them within quotes. Doesn't matter if it's a single quote or double quote, totally fine. Okay, so that should be it. Now this is my code. But now where do I get to run it, or how do I see the result of my code? Where do I get to see the output? That's where this part comes in. In whichever operating system you guys are using, you will have some software. For Windows, it is command prompt. If you are on Linux, that would be your shell. If you are on Mac, that would be your terminal. In case you have never used this before, just a quick intro. No matter which operating system you use, there are two ways to deal with the basic operating system. The first one is graphical user interface, like I am doing right now, using my mouse. If I want to go to a particular folder, I can open just any folder, visit the place, maybe create a new folder, create a new file, delete a bunch of folders, delete a bunch of files. Okay. Similarly, all of these things can be done using a command line interface as well. So there is graphical user interface and a command line interface. So this black screen is just a way for you to use your operating system using command lines. Okay. Now, what I want to do right now is I want to go to the folder where my this file is present using my command line. Through graphical user interface, I obviously can. I can come here, go to my downloads folder, and that's it. There I am. But I want to do the similar thing using my command line. How would I do so? Now, no matter which operating system you are using, these commands will remain the same. So currently, it shows that I am inside my C drive, users folder, and Mohit folder. Now, I hope this is visible. My file is currently present in my C, users, Mohit, downloads folder. So I know that inside Mohit folder, there can be bunch of folders, and I want to get inside downloads folder. How do I do that? So I'll type in cd space downloads. Oops. And that should be it. All I'm trying to tell computer is change directory to downloads. So it just means get inside the downloads folder. Directory means folder. Now if I hit enter, you'll see the difference. Now I'm inside the downloads folder. Now inside the downloads folder, I have a file, first.py. I want to run that file using Python program. Which Python program? That I would have already installed. If you remember, the installation part of Python. Now how would I use Python to run this Python file? Now Python is a piece of software in itself, right? All we are trying to do is ask computer to use my Python program and run this language so that that program will convert this into that binary part, solve bunch of things here, and then give us the result here. If everything goes fine, we would see the result. Otherwise, we would encounter some problem. So okay, let's see. So how do I run the file? I'll simply say Python space name of my file along with the extension. I'll hit enter. So for the moment, everything is fine because there was no error. But that won't always be the case, especially not in the beginner phase. You might encounter an issue that maybe you forgot to close the bracket. Suppose you did and you saved this file and you came here and you just entered. You will encounter an error. Now, please don't get intimidated by the error messages. These are there to help you. With time, you will understand how to resolve it. We fall into errors every day, totally fine. But just know one thing, the last line and maybe a line above it will be able to help you as to where is the error and how do we resolve it. Now, you might not understand this term, syntax error, but of course, this should make sense to you. Bracket was never closed. And in fact, it's even trying to point out where the issue could be. So we understand somewhat that here is the opening bracket and it says that bracket was never closed. So you'll have to understand it somehow. Come back here, close the brackets. Remember to save your file. Saved it again. Come to this black screen, run this code, and voila. That's your answer. Just with some muscle memory, with some more practice, this will get easier. Okay. But this is a cycle that we are going ahead with. We are running the code on a platform and we are writing the code on a coding platform and we are running code in our command prompt. But like I have mentioned, there are easier ways to do so, but trust me, this is the right way to do it. If you want to do anything in your tech, you'll have to use this command line one or the other day. Okay. So just keep up with it and we should be good to go. Now, okay, first of all, any doubts in this procedure? How to run a code?
No.
All right, guys.
सर हेलो
Yep, buddy. हरप्रीत बताएं, tell me.
सर मैक में भी यही प्रोसीजर है
बिल्कुल ये प्रोसीजर है। आपके वहाँ कमांड
ओके
प्रॉम्प्ट नहीं होगा, आप में टर्मिनल होगा।
ओके
तो आप अपने सर्च में
ओके
जाके टर्मिनल लिखेंगे, टर्मिनल ओपन होगा
हम्म।
एंड
सर
दैट्स इट।
जो आपने पहले डाउनलोड किया था उसमें एक्सटेंशन दी थी डॉट पी वाई वो सेम प्रोसीजर ही है
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल सारा कुछ सेम
ओके
है। जो चीज़
ओके
मैक में अलग होगी, मैं कोशिश करूँगा ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा यहाँ पे मेंशन करूँ। अगर कोई चीज़ मुझसे छूट गई है या फिर आपके सिस्टम में कुछ नहीं चल रहा है और इफ़ देयर इज़ एनी इशू विद एनी ऑफ यू, प्लीज़ फील फ्री टू सेंड मी अ स्क्रीनशॉट इन द ग्रुप। I'll try to resolve it ASAP, okay? Don't
ओके
worry about it.
थैंक
But I'll
यू
try
सर
to
मेरे पास विजुअल स्टूडियो है उसमें हो जाएगा
totally fine. आप विजुअल स्टूडियो में कर सकते हैं। विजुअल स्टूडियो में कैसे
ओके
होगा? आप ओपन करेंगे, आप फाइल में जाएंगे, न्यू फाइल बनाएंगे,
यस सर
okay? Okay, wait a second. Let me just, my bad. I'll close this folder. आप अपनी एक न्यू फाइल बना देंगे, इसको कहीं भी सेव करें एंड यहाँ पे और भी आसान है, यहाँ पे एक बटन से रन हो जाएगा प्रोग्राम, सो दैट्स गुड इनफ। ओके। अब
ठीक
विजुअल
ठीक
स्टूडियो में क्या एक फ़ायदा है, जो आपका टेक्स्ट है वो यहीं पे, लेट मी एक्चुअली क्रिएट समथिंग, सो आई डोंट नो, मे बी लेट्स से एक न्यू फोल्डर बनाते हैं, समथिंग डॉट पी वाई डाउनलोड्स में। ओके, यहाँ पे आप अपना कोड लिख सकते हैं एंड आई गेस दिस शुड बी इट एंड ये रहा आपका टर्मिनल यहाँ पे। ठीक है, टर्मिनल कैसे होगा, कंट्रोल और ये टिल्डे सिंबल होता है वन के लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे और यहाँ पे कहीं पे आपका रन का हो जाएगा डीबग का, दैट्स इट। तो ये बस एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म है जहाँ पे टेक्स्ट एडिटर भी यहीं पे आ गया एंड कमांड लाइन इसके नीचे आ गया। बिहाइंड द सीन्स चीज़ें सेम रहती हैं। ओके, मैं थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट वे से इसलिए आ रहा हूँ क्योंकि समवेयर डाउन द लाइन आपको एक तरीका यूज़ करना पड़ेगा जहाँ पे कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट्स अलग होंगे एंड कोडिंग एडिटर अलग होंगे। ओके, गुड टू गो।
थैंक यू
All right. So, yeah, you're welcome. Now, this could be the simplest thing that you can do in a programming language. Of course, we can do a lot more than this. So, something where we would want to solve a problem. What can we do? Like I mentioned, area of a rectangle. Pretty silly stuff. So now we are dealing with a problem wherein we would need some values, do some operations onto it, and then see the result. How would we do? Also, by the way, I'm just showcasing some sample Python code to you guys. Don't worry, I'll be teaching you what a variable is and other things, how to write print statements in different ways. I'm just giving you, let's say, a demo, okay, of what Python can do and what Python can look like. All right, so if I want to calculate area of rectangle, I know a bunch of things. So let's write down a simple algorithm. So, and also, if you ever want to solve anything, just write this algorithm in your own language, however you can understand it. Keep it simple. So if I want to calculate area of a rectangle, I can say uh, take length, take width, calculate area. Now I can explain more of it. I can say area would be equals to my length multiplied by width. Once I have it, I can say print the result onto the screen, whatever. Try to keep it as much descriptive as you need. Now, this is our real world solution. We can literally use this algorithm and calculate area of just any rectangle. Now, once we can do that, we have to translate this solution into our Python code. So, how do we take a length? How do we take a width? So we can simply define a variable in there. I can say length equals to something. Now that something could be, let's say, 24 now. Width equals to something else. Could be 10. Area could be equals to my length multiplied by my width. Now, why not the X symbol here? Because in computers, this is not how you represent a multiplication operator. For that, we'll be needing to use this operator, asterisk. Asterisk, how do we type it? Shift and 8. That's how you get it. Now, once I have the area, we already know how to print something onto a screen. If I say print area, at this moment without any quotes, so that's it. Whatever area gets calculated, we can see it on our screen. So if I run the code right now, I should be able to see 200. So maybe you can figure out one thing now, a difference between printing something this way and printing something in this manner. What's the difference? If I am to print something within the codes, that would mean I literally want to print it to the screen. That means HELLO, that's what gets printed here. But when I'm trying to print area, it's not printing AREA, it's printing the value that this area variable contains. So in this manner, this area is the dynamic term. That means it can change depending upon the inputs. But my hello is a static term. That is, no matter what the program is, it's always going to print hello. If I run the program again, see, it is 20, it is hello. I can change the examples here. The area part remains the same, but the value will be different, of course. But hello still remains the same. And not just this, we can write a static and a dynamic thing into the same print function. Just separate them with a comma. So I could have said area equal to area. Now in this case, this is what literally gets printed to the screen. And for this area variable, whatever the value it calculates. So now if I run the code, this is what you get. And that's how you should be able to do things. You will have some values, you will have some formula in your mind, you will solve it, calculate it, and print it onto a screen. Doesn't have to be just a one line formula. So maybe, let me think of something. Maybe I want to calculate average of two values. I could have said number 1 equals to 10, number 2 equals to 20. Now, how do we calculate average of this thing? I can simply say, first of all, I can add them up. So I could have said add equals to number 1 plus number 2. Now, once I have added them up, I can say average equals to my addition divided by 2. The next step. And finally, I am going to print average of this thing. And that is my average. If I run the code now, works perfectly fine. And that's it. No matter how long your algorithm is, The concept remains the same. You'll have bunch of inputs, you'll have some process, you'll have some way to output your result onto the screen. Is this much clear to you guys right now?
हेलो
Yep, tell me, buddy.
सर जब हम इंटीजर वैल्यू लेंगे तब डबल कोड नहीं लगाएंगे।
हाँ हाँ, बट डोंट वरी, वो सब मैं बताऊंगा। आपको इसलिए डाउट आ सकता है। ओके, जस्ट टू टेल यू सम मोर थिंग्स। आपने एमसीए में जो लैंग्वेज, कंप्यूटर साइंस में जो लैंग्वेजेस पढ़ी होंगी, आपने ऐसा कुछ देखा होगा। सी होगा, सी प्लस प्लस होगा, जावा होगा, राइट?
यस
मेनली दिस।
यस
ये कुछ स्टैटिक लैंग्वेजेस होती हैं, ऐसी स्टैटिक लैंग्वेजेस मतलब आपको पहले बताना पड़ता है कि क्या चीज़ इंटीजर है, क्या चीज़ स्ट्रिंग है, क्या चीज़ फ्लोट है, राइट? और भी चीज़ें होती हैं, डबल होता है, क्या होता है।
यस सर
पाइथन
यस
काफ़ी हद तक आसान है, उसमें आपको कुछ बताने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। आप बस वेरिएबल दे सकते हो और कुछ वैल्यू दे सकते हो। बिहाइंड द सीन्स वो खुद समझ जाता है कि कौन सी वैल्यू किस डेटा टाइप की है। तो ये इसलिए उन सभी लैंग्वेजेस से बहुत ज़्यादा आसान है। आसान होने से ये मतलब नहीं है कि उनसे बेहतर है। अ, आसान होने की वजह से एक्चुअली ये थोड़ी स्लो हो जाती है, बट वो एक अलग डिस्कशन है। ओके, सो थोड़ा टाइम लग सकता है ट्रांजिशन होने में उन लैंग्वेजेस से इसमें, बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे पाइथन आपको ज़्यादा आसान लगेगी। फाइन। बट ये
ओके
डेटा टाइप वगैरह का कंसेप्ट जितना ज़रूरी होगा, आई टेल यू, डोंट वरी अबाउट इट। ओके, नाउ दिस इज़ वन ऑफ द सॉल्यूशंस दैट यू guys did from scratch. हमने we wrote algorithm on our own, but you don't always have to rely on the your solution. There are built-in functions that can help you out. So maybe if you want to calculate LCM of two values now, and suppose we don't understand how to write code down to calculate LCM from scratch, what can we do then? I can use a built-in function to do so. Don't worry why I'm copying that code and pasting it here. I just want to keep this file empty. Now I'll write bunch of code here. Don't worry if you won't understand, but that's totally fine. What I'm trying to is to showcase that Python has some built-in functions available. So suppose I want to find LCM. There could be a function LCM, and maybe I have number 1 equals to again 20. Maybe I have number 2 equals to 5, and I want to find LCM of these two numbers. It says number 1 comma number 2. I should get some output equals to this, and I can print my output back to the screen. If I run it right now, I'll fall into some error. Says that name LCM is not defined, which shows that my Python doesn't really understand what LCM means, and that's totally fine. But then there are tools, let's say a toolbox, which contains LCM inside, and I can use that toolbox right now. Now, toolbox is not a programming term. I'm trying not to use a tech jargon, but don't worry, I'll tell you what that is. I can simply import that toolbox in here. I can say import math, and in this math toolbox, my LCM function is present. So all I'm saying is, please bring on the math toolbox, and inside it you have the LCM function. Use that function with these values and give me the result, and that's how I can get the result here. So just an example to showcase that you don't have to build things from scratch. There can be functions available, not always, but for most of the common things that you can think of, there will be functions present. Don't worry about it. Although, is that the right way to learn to code? Not really. You should be able to write things from scratch. We will write something from scratch. But this is just to showcase that in a realistic situation, please don't write your own code. There are built-in functions available. So this is what you can do. And then there comes the fancy part. A lot more stuff that we can do. What can we do? I don't know. Let's something. Okay, let's say I want to generate a password. Okay, password. Uh, now maybe I want to generate a password of, let's say, 5 characters. Now I can write my own code to generate a password of 5 characters. Don't worry if you don't understand anything. Like I mentioned, I'm just trying to showcase how easy it can be to build things in Python. Okay, so first of all, I can prepare all the characters that I will be using to generate password. So let's say my characters could be this thing, a piece of text. What all can I use? I can use my letters in small case, in capital case, whatever. I can use these things as well. A bunch of, let's call them special characters, some these things as well. Anything that you can think of, doesn't really matter. And now, out of these characters, okay, out of these characters, I want to fetch one random character at a time. Now, to fetch one random thing from a piece of text, there is a built-in tool available. I can import that tool now. Remember the analogy of a tool? I can say import random. Now, how do I know random exists and how would I know what all functions does it contain? I will be telling you. How would you know? Now, inside random, I have a choice function available. I can say characters. Now, this function will give me one character at a time from these bunch of characters. Let me just pick it up. So I can say char equals to this and just print out this one character. Now, of course, it will give me just one random character, but you can say that we are getting close. If I can get one random character, I can figure out a way to get five random characters. How can I do so? There are many ways possible. Let me show you a silly way. Maybe I can have a variable that I can keep empty initially, an empty variable, an empty variable that will store text somewhere down the line. So I need to keep an empty text in here. Once I have an empty character, I can say add this character to this empty password for now, and it will add it up. You can in fact have a look at your password. It will show you one character at least. And now I can, let's say, repeat this similar process and get the job done once, twice, thrice, four times, and five times. And finally, I should have my result here. So finally, I have my password of five characters. A random password. I can run it any number of times and you'll see something totally random coming in here. Of course, that's a pretty silly way of doing it. There are ways to repeat your code. So we will understand how repeating the code works. So there is something known as a loop. I could have repeated this thing x number of times. How would I do so? I can say for I in range. Now, of course, the syntax is getting difficult with every question, but like I mentioned, we are going to see everything, just trying to showcase. So if I have to repeat 8th and ninth line five times, I can simply type 5 in here and this should possibly do the job. Now if I run the code, I should get the similar result. I mean, the similar thing, but now it actually can do a lot. If I want to print a password of, let's say, 10 characters, I can enter 10 there and I can run the code. I'll get a password of 10 letters. Not just this, and a lot more that you can think of. Okay, if you want to generate passwords, you can go ahead with this. If you want to generate OTPs of a certain number of letters, you can do so, and a lot more things out there. What else can we do? Now, this is first of all, any doubts in this so far? I mean, don't ask me about the syntax, but in general, we'll be teaching you all of it. What is for, what is range, what is choice, what is plus, these all things. Okay. But anything in general, buddy? Let me.
Mohit,
Yep,
have a
yep.
question. So, because all the results we are seeing in the DOS mode only, so
Hmm.
because we want to see the result in the some other format in PDF or in Excel or in any other web, how we
Yes,
can see that?
yes, yes, yes. So what can we do? Let's start with
No, no, just for sample only. You can just tell me.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
later we can go.
Okay. So see, if you want to print something onto a screen, there will be a print function. If you want to write something in a file, there is actually a write function available. I mean, you can't directly use this thing, but let me just showcase. It should not be a big deal. Trust me, it's all easy in Python. Um, Now, I can write some code here. You can say open, okay? Just name a file. Let's say password. You want to name it txt? Let's keep it txt. You want to keep it CSV? Do it CSV. Don't do PDF as of yet. There are other ways to deal with PDFs, but just for text file, XLSX file, and CSV file, this would work fine. You want to write something onto the screen, so you will write W in here, and that's it. You can save it in some F, and in here you can say f dot write. And what do you want to write onto this file? You want to write the password that you generated in line number 9, and that should be it. Now, if you run this code right now, you won't see anything in this screen because we haven't printed something onto our screen. But we wrote something to our file. So it will create a password.txt file with this password in it. So let's run it. And there was no error, luckily. Now, if I come to the folder where my current file is present, you can see a password file. And because it was a text file, by default, it will open here. And that's your random password. Now, uh, could be a CSV file, the other thing. But saving a single value in a CSV file wouldn't mean anything. But of course, we can create a whole CSV thing, a value, comma, another value, comma, another value, and that would look better. A CSV file would then by default open in your Excel sort of a piece of software. Okay, so if you are in Windows, it will open in Excel. Maybe you are in your Linux, it will open in LibreOffice and those sort of things. Clear? But it's pretty easy to do it in Python. Not just this, what else can we do? Okay, something fun. Let's try it. Maybe you have a text, um, and you should we? Okay, enough of text, I guess. What can we do? Okay, let's say I want to scrape. Wait. India news. Times of India. Indian Express. Okay, maybe I want to create a simple piece of software that will just, um, I mean, I can mention a website to my software and it will fetch all the headings from this page. Okay, if I know the web link to this page. Now, this can be very intimidating, very difficult in other languages. In Python, pretty simple to do. Of course, code can still look difficult to you, but trust me, it is the smallest code in just any programming languages present out there. But to do this, we'll have to use more tools now. But just I can showcase this to you. There is something known as request. There is something known as wait, if I have to import it, I'll have to write this. I can say BS4. What do I need to import? Beautiful soup. BS. Okay. Now you just need to mention the link that you want to fetch data from. So maybe, oops, sorry. Where's the web link? Here it is. And of course, this would work in just any web link. Okay. Okay. So this is my link. Now inside my request. So request is again a toolbox. By the way, let's not call it toolbox anymore. A technical term is modules or packages. But don't worry. What are they? How can we create our own? And what's present inside those toolboxes will show it all to you. So let's just keep it that way. Now, if you want to uh, request to this URL, there's a function get. Inside this, you can pass your URL and get some response in return. Now, whatever response you get is in, let's say, binary format. I need a way to see it in textual format. So there are other tools available. Just one of them I just imported. So again, don't worry. Let's say, how should I say it? Let's call it response.text. Don't worry about what I'm typing. Call it html.parser. Now this will store something. Let's say data. Now this data, if I know somewhat more about how the websites are built, I can tell you. By the way, whatever you are seeing here, all the data things are saved in something known as a tag. So there can be a heading tag to store headings, there can be an image tag to store the image, there can be an MP3 tag to store MP3 files. Okay, so from this page, I want to tell my Python, now I have this page by now, okay, but I don't want to see this page. From this page, I want to see all the headings part. Now I'll have to see how have these these people saved their headings. Now don't worry about what I'm doing, please. I know it can get intimidating, but just to showcase, if you can see here, they are showing h2. Now h2 is let's say second level of heading. If I can figure this much out, then there are ways to fetch just the heading part out of the whole web page that we were looking into. So I could say data.fetch all, again just a function available, and which headings do we need? We need the h2 tags, and it will give us just the headlines. Now I can print all the headlines here, so whatever the headlines we have, or let's just print them one by one. I can say pick each headline from my headlines. Okay, there's some issue, oh my bad, we are doing Python. So I can say pick each heading from headlines, or pick each headline from my collective headlines, and just print it out. So my each will now have actually has a function. There is something known as get text, and this should get the job done. Just to showcase, I can print an empty line here. Again, nothing fancy. I'm just doing hyphens. Sorry, underscore looks like a line. Pretty silly, but gets the job done. Okay, so there it is. So the link that I provided, these are today's heading. Let me have a look. Indian Science Congress, blah blah blah. Uh, just know that this is the latest one. Okay. So if we we can see here. This is something latest could be. Okay. So now, how would you use this knowledge? I have no idea. Maybe you can. Okay, let me give you an idea. Uh, Not something random. Actually, I build something for a person. So this was the task. We had to fetch all the headlines from a certain article, a news article of a particular website. Actually, fetch articles from a bunch of websites, and then calculate that what do we call it, sentiment of those articles, and then figure out which of the newspaper or news articles are, let's say, left leaning or right leaning. Now, if you have this whole problem, then you can come up with something good. I can teach you how to fetch data out of a website. I can teach you how to calculate sentiment analysis. But then it's up to you. How would you use that knowledge to come up with something even better? If you want to do some, I don't know, sentiment analysis, you can write another code for it. How do we do so? Again, there is a tool available. I could have said text blob. Again, this is something that you'll have to remember. But even if you don't remember, totally fine. Just do a Google search. Let's say tool in Python that can do sentiment analysis. Pretty silly Google query, but it will help you out. So let's say text blob. How do I remember it? Because I use it every day. Even you'll remember the tools that you will be using. Okay. So this is how the thing goes actually. Um, uh, I'll come back to that coding part. Once we are done with our course, if you want to get into web, there will be a bunch of tools that you will be learning. Let's say for web, you'll learn something known as a Django or Flask, those sort of things. If you want to get into data, you'll start with NumPy, Pandas, and some visualization library, probably Matplotlib or Seaborn. If you want to go into ML, okay, you can't directly get into web ML. You will have to go through data and then ML. There are a bunch of other things available here as well. And let's say if you want to get into automation, there is something known as Selenium. Pretty useful. I use it every day for the web automations. So gets the job done. So similarly, these are just maybe you want to scrape the website, then you'll have to learn a lot about this BS4 module tool. Okay. Okay, coming back to this part. So there should be some function available. So I can have some text here. I don't know. It's mm, let's say, how should I say it? Mm, bad earthquake hit Japan today. Okay, let's say, okay, that we'll keep it that way. Now, if I remember the function text blob inside this thing, I can pass my text, I can get some data out, and then I'll need to remember that on this data, I can perform some things. So sentiment. Now, this is something that you'll have to remember. How would you remember if you learn about this tool every day? If you read more about it, you'll remember what all things we can apply here. And it will give you, let's say, some score. Once I have the score, you can check. Maybe if the score is SCORE, if the score is, I don't know, maybe greater than zero, we'll call it positive sentiment. Oops, this should have been enclosed within quotes. Why within quotes? Because it's a piece of message. I can say elif, my score is less than zero. Now, of course, even though you don't understand what are these colons, what is this if else, but you still get the idea. We are sort of, how do we frame it? We are making decisions here. Okay. I could have typed in negative sentiment. And if otherwise, I mean the else part, I can say it's neutral. Okay, let's check it out. Again on this code. Okay, there's some issue here. Did you mean sentiment? Okay, so what's the issue here? It was not intentional. I fell into a trap. It says, now, if I don't understand this technical term, I don't understand this idea, I don't understand this, maybe I even don't understand the word attribute. But somewhere down the line, I will understand that I have made some spelling error. I wrote sentiment, it should have been sentiment. So I can come back to my coding part, fix the code, save the file, come back here, run the code again, and it shows it's a negative sentiment. Of course, because uh, now behind the scenes, how is this working? We have no idea. Although, if you have heard of terms like NLP, natural language processing, that's what's going on behind the scenes. But do we need to know how to code in NLP? No way. We just need to know that there's a tool out there that can get the job done for us. You need to remember about this tool, not write things from scratch using NLP. Okay. Also, one more thing. We don't have to type in a message here. We can ask my user to put in something. Again, another function here. We'll see how does that work. I could have asked my user to enter something. Okay. Now it looks more even better now, because now whichever user is trying to see my solution can enter some value here, and my program will run on this value now. So okay, we saw one for the negative sentiment, right? What can I say? So Indian stock market is on its all-time high, and it shows it's a positive sentiment. So getting the idea, the rough idea, I hope. Any doubts, anything, guys? Anything at all?
Mm. No.
No. Whatever I have coded in here, even if you don't understand anything, it's totally fine. Don't even have to understand it all. This is just the fancy stuff. Trust me, this is not what we are going to learn in at least 8 classes, initial 8 classes. Okay, we are going to learn some of the boring stuff, but those are the those are the, let's say, building blocks of coding. Once we get over that part, that's when the good stuff comes in. How to deal with databases, how to deal with files, how to deal with things like these, the tools, and all of that. Okay, no matter how intimidating it gets, don't worry about it. It gets easier at some time. Okay, all right.
Uh,
Please feel free to ask me if there's any doubt at all. anything.
Mohit, I have a question.
Yep.
So everything should be written in the one module itself, or it
Definitely
can be
not.
written.
Definitely not. We can break down our solution into different modules. And technically, module is just a fancy term for a file. So right now I have written a first.py Python file. Technically, you can call it a first.py Python module. But there are times when we'll call a Python file a module. Uh, let's say when we import it somewhere else. So like I'm importing request, so it's a module. But somewhere down the line, there is request.py in my system. Like I've written this random, there is a random.py file in my system. Because uh, in case you have heard of open source term ever, Python is an open source language. So when you installed Python, all of the code is present in your own system. And we can actually have a look at this. I can come here, go to my, wait. In your system, it can differ, but somewhere down the line, you will have your A, B, C, D, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, R. So there is your random file. This is where the random dot choice is present. Of course, it will look difficult. Don't even have to worry about it. We just need to know how to import it and get our job done. Okay? But yes,
Okay.
answering your question, it can be broken down into different modules, and that's the right way to do so. When we encounter a bigger problem, that's when I'll show you how to break our problem down into different files, different folders, then come up with a more practical solution. Okay? Anything else guys? हरप्रीत आप बताएं कोई दिक्कत? हेलो हरप्रीत, अगर आवाज आ रही है तो यू आर एक्चुअली ऑन म्यूट. मीनवाइल विजय सर, आप आशुतोष आप.
नहीं सर, अब तक तो it's fine. So
ओके.
it's only the beginning.
या
So
जैसा मैंने बताया, आज जो कुछ कोड किया है जस्ट फॉरगेट इट ऑल. ओके, विल सी एवरीथिंग. आशुतोष सर आपका कोई डाउट, एनीथिंग एट ऑल?
As of now, nothing, because I think gradually when I see we'll go on and do the thing. तब हमें
डेफिनेटली.
पता चलेगा how the things are. So as of
डेफिनेटली.
now, I think it's very satisfying.
ओके. ओके. So alright guys, then let's continue tomorrow. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day, night.
सर
Yeah, okay, there is someone.
हेलो
Yes, Harpreet, hey buddy, you're back. कोई दिक्कत मैंने पूछा?
सर जो आपने रैंडम इंपोर्ट जैसे एल्स यूज़ किया था वो अपने मल्टीपल जैसे फंक्शन यूज़ किए थे उसमें.
थोड़ा सा दोबारा समझाना, मैं समझा नहीं.
सर जैसे आपने इंपोर्ट रैंडम एक
हम्म.
ही प्रोग्राम में रैंडम
हम्म.
एक्सेल इफ एल्स एंड एल्स उसमें
हम्म.
डाला था तो वो मल्टीपल फंक्शन एक ही प्रोग्राम में यूज़ किया आपने.
हाँ, हालांकि
ओके
इसको फंक्शन नहीं बोलते हैं प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेजेस में, इफ और एल्स को. इसको
ओके सर.
क्या पता, आपने एंड कोडिंग में कहीं पढ़ा, इसको कंडीशनल स्टेटमेंट बोलते हैं.
यस सर सर यस सर
बट
कंडीशनल स्टेटमेंट्स.
हाँ, बट डोंट
यस सर.
वरी, ये नाम याद रखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. कंडीशनल स्टेटमेंट्स, मॉड्यूल, ये जितने भी टेक जार्गन है, धीरे धीरे ये याद हो जाएंगे. ठीक है, कोड हो
ओके
कैसे रहा है वो ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. कोड लिखना, बाकी
ओके
ये टर्म्स याद हो जाएंगे. आप ज़्यादा चीज़ें सुनोगे, ज़्यादा चीज़ें पढ़ोगे, अलग अलग
ओके
लैंग्वेजेस में इनका अलग अलग नाम भी होता है. सो ये
ओके
फिक्र करने की बात नहीं है. मेन
ओके
पार्ट है कि कंडीशंस लगती कैसे हैं, दैट शुड बी इट. ओके.
ओके ठीक. सर आप रिकॉर्डिंग सेंड कर देना.
डेफिनेटली रिकॉर्डिंग्स आपको, जो भी सेशन ओवर होगा उसके विद इन 1 आवर आपको रिकॉर्डिंग्स भेज दी जाएंगी.
ओके
Also, one
ठीक है.
more thing, guys. So along with the recordings, I'll be sending you a file or maybe a zip file. Let's say like this file. Okay. So I'll save it as session1.py. Right below the file, in every session, there will be some task. Try to see. I mean, just spend some time with it. Okay. I'll keep them easy, but just spend some time with this task. Okay. It can be a question for you to solve. It can be a link to some other resource for something that we studied that day, or just something random. Okay, just something for you to learn from somewhere else. Just have a look at that task, spend some time with the problems. I don't expect you to solve all the problems. My aim is just to uh, have you spend some time with the problem. Okay, that's the aim. Even if you don't understand anything in the question, totally fine. Will you can ask that thing to me in our next session, and we'll try to solve it. But please remember one thing: I won't be spoon feeding you. If I do that, lots of time will be lost, and I actually want to cover the more important part rather than spending much of the time in the basic stuff. Okay. So work accordingly. Spend at least half an hour every day with whatever we are doing other than our session, and all of you should be good to go. Okay? Okay. One last time. Any doubts? If not,
No,
then okay guys. Okay guys.
Not enough.
Then let's meet in our tomorrow next session. आप लोग जहाँ से भी हैं, it will be at the same time 11 p.m. IST. Okay? All right. Bye. Take care.
okay, okay. Take care,
Okay,
sir.
bye.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
All of you. Bye bye.